Today on the Topping Show, Bud Light loses its number one beer of the year to Modelo. Snow White actress is sad that you know that she's insufferable. Keanu Reeves is called fat by the same people who say you must worship with Lizzo. Vivek Ramaswamy and his plan to drain the swamp. Trump gets an endorsement from Alaska. UPS union votes yes for the drivers to make $170,000 per year. Macy's new idea for micro stores is doing well. GM Cruise, they're cutting their fleet by about 50% due to the accidents. Dick's Sporting Goods, their stock just crashes as their profits disappear. And Food Lion has a recall for contaminated veggies. All that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of Topping Show is sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say, he's quite handsome and brilliant. Excuse me, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, need those assistance, you reach the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, we're running a fun promo. We're giving away a free flamethrower for all sales in August. See this website for additional details. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have the UPS union voting yes for drivers to make $170,000 per year. Now, this was previously proposed from UPS corporate, so you had to have the union ratify it, aka to vote and say, oh yeah, we do want to make this preposterous amount of money. Now, the union said in terms of the breakdown that 86% of members voted yes for this 5-year contract, which is now actually being put retroactive to August 1st, so they'll get a little bonus for the time that they worked between August 1st and now. And it looks like it's the largest margin in favor of a contract ever at the company. Well, yeah, I was about to say that's probably not too surprising. Who wouldn't want to make $170,000 a year to drive a truck? Don't get me wrong, I know that's not every single employee. There's different metrics that go into that. But, and of course, yes, that includes benefits, but it still costs the stockholders and the employees, and more importantly, the customers, that the amount of breakdown doesn't matter to the end user or any of them. Now, it looks like the union participation rate in terms of actually who participated in the vote, 58% of all the union members actually did cast a vote. And they say that's actually a record as well in terms of the number of people actually voting. Which is kind of pathetic. In a lot of places, you're forced to be in a union or coerced. And sometimes by law, they force you to be in a union and pay dues, which actually just go to politicians many times. But nevertheless, if you're forced to be in something, kind of like how you're forced to pay federal income taxes, why wouldn't you vote? I mean, that's one of the few benefits you have left. So personally, I always am astonished by the voting turnout rates for many of these things. But nevertheless, it looks like this has all the support of the union leaders. There's like 161 to 1 vote in favor of the deal. This is from Teamsters President Sean O'Brien, and he called it, quote, the best contract in the history of UPS, unquote. Which, yes, of course it is. That's more than people make in IT or many of the jobs that we would think of that we used to consider college-level education jobs. I mean, $170,000 per year, that's astronomical. And overall, it looks like it's going to increase the labor costs by more than 3% per year. And keep in mind, it's a 5-year contract. I feel terrible for the UPS franchise owners because more often than not, an overwhelming majority of the time, I believe all stores or nearly all stores, they're all owned by mom and pop shops. So if you go to your local UPS store in the little shopping suite, it's not owned by a corporate UPS, which I believe is headquartered out of Pennsylvania. It's usually owned by a local mom and pop. So that's where I like to establish, or that's rather, when I look to where I'm going to invest my money and where I spend my money, I like to shop locally. So that's one of the reasons I like to go to my local UPS, because I know the owners, the family's really great. They help the company out. They make life pretty easy with shipping. I can't imagine what's this going to do to the shipping rates. And again, one of the things that usually the detriment to many unions, in my opinion, is the short-term visions, because they will win in the short term, absolutely. But what's the overall picture of this situation? You have Amazon.com growing exponentially with their own offering in the freight industry. I believe it was 5 or 6 years ago, they already started buying their own Boeing, I think, 737s. As well as we all know, you have more and more of those Amazon trucks everywhere too. And that represents a pretty significant part of UPS's business. And you have more third parties selling on Amazon more and more and more. And they're going to be using Amazon's shipping as well. Granted, you don't have to, I believe, by default. You actually can get it from a myriad of shippers. But it won't be long until, I can't think of a business reason why Amazon wouldn't choose to have that subsidiary or that part of the business take on additional business where even if you're not selling Amazon, you just ship through them. Once you build out the logistics, it seems like the money just easily to be made. You just expand it a little bit more for the capacity. So it'll be interesting to see how much will this help out FedEx and other competitors and DHL. Let me know in the comments. Do you think it's going to be really a good thing for UPS long term? You also have internal struggles. So you have actually internal corporate employees, like in IT, where online, there's a couple websites like Glassdoor.com where you can review your employer. And on that site, they're saying they're pretty much irate because they got, $50, $70, $100,000 in student loans for a computer science degree, and they're working at UPS corporate, maybe making 150 grand a year, and they got a driver making 170K a year. That's going to cause either two things to happen. One, it'll going to cause there to be more friction between employees and relations. It's not going to be good for morale. Or two, it's going to cause you to increase the cost of that department as well, because they're going to use that as a justification of why they deserve more money. So that's going to be another detriment to this situation. And that being said, the union ratified it. It's going forward, of course. But it'll be interesting to see what's the long-term effect of this and how will it ripple throughout the community. As I always say, time shall tell. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Again, we're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of August, so you can click that button. I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, all the likes and the comments help out the channel as well. Not just with the feedback, as it helps me become more proficient at the job and make the show more entertaining and higher quality, but also helps with the algorithm and gets those videos shared more often, so you get more views. And the more we build it up, the better the quality we'll be able to get. Also, don't forget to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.